projects is a mobile app for dispensaries. If you've got an iPhone or a Droid, you could even download this. Harborside Health Center is the first folks to have this, and it's a mobile app that has their menu on it and a deal of the day, a coupon that people can pull out and bring out and come bring to their dispensary. As far as we know, it's the first thing like this, but we assume that over the next year or two, every dispensary will have its own mobile app, and we want to bring it to them. And so this is just something small. We're going to have some base hits, some doubles, some triples, and some home runs. This is our first project, because we're only about 6 months old. This is our base hit, and it's only been live for about 2.5 weeks. They already have over 2,000 downloads, and people are checking it regularly before coming in. So this is just a small thing, but it's hopefully going to be very lucrative and also meet a changing need of professionalism as things grow. And someone asked when we were out at dinner, oh, so ancillary. So by ancillary you mean like lights and nutrients and paraphernalia. And the answer to that question is yes, those are ancillary businesses, but they're not the ones we're interested in. And the reason is that the paraphernalia industry and the growing industry are already well developed, right? The paraphernalia industry says it's for tobacco, and the growing industry says it's for tomatoes, and it's well established. It's a well established legal industry, and so there's opportunity there, but there's not like huge opportunity in that space because it's already pretty well developed. And where investors are most interested and is where there's opportunity for huge, crazy growth, where there's an opportunity to bust open something totally new. And so we're interested in things like staffing agencies and different ways of maybe point of sale systems and different ways of the media. Okay, so movies and television, advertising, all these things. I mean, there's a big, huge list. I have about 15 or 20 different areas where these three folks are going to be underserved for a while. And a lot of people ask, well, when this is legal, isn't Philip Morris just going to come in and Seagram's and the alcohol companies and the Fortune 500 companies, aren't they just going to come in and take over this market? And the answer is maybe, but that's a ways off, because as long as it's federally illegal and as long as there's a stigma associated with it, that gives all of us a little bit of time to catch up. Okay? It gives us a little bit of time to develop some of our own big companies that can put a challenge to that. And my hope is that we're able to build companies that don't make the same mistakes that we made with tobacco and alcohol. Companies that have more than just the profit as their bottom line, but are about trust amongst the public and trust among the customers and the environment, etc., etc. So this is a unique opportunity where there's a ton of opportunity, and and we have a bit of a free shot at it, or at least a free shot amongst other people of our size in the marketplace. There's not going to be a Fortune 500 company coming in here anytime soon to either on the cannabis side or on the ancillary side of it. And so we've got an opportunity to build something here and give these guys a run for their money, or at least when they do enter the market, they'll have to play by the rules we've established for it. And I think a lot of that has to do with the plant itself. And thinking about, when you look at alcohol and tobacco, and you think about how those affect your consciousness and affect your body, and then you think about the kinds of businesses that have been built up around them, I like to think that cannabis helps us, be creative, or helps us connect with others, or helps us think about things besides the bottom line and smell the roses, and think about justice and those sorts of things. I mean, hopefully that's the effect I know that's the effect it's had on me, and my hope is that it has that effect on others. And hopefully our businesses reflect that. reflect that effect. And so I'm gonna close my prepared remarks there and kind of turn it over for questions, because I can cover a wide range, and I don't know what you guys want to know about, but I can go from there. So if we have anybody want to throw up a question, go from there. Yeah.
You said that app is like your base hit. What are some ideas for second, third, fourth?
Well, one of the bizarre parts about moving from the activist realm to the business realm is when you're an activist, your job is to let everyone know about everything you're doing and scream it as loud as you possibly can from the rooftops. And it's an odd change for me to be now in this other realm where actually I can't really talk about what I'm doing until it's ready to come out, right? Because if I do, then somebody else comes out and does that same thing, and we're leaders in the marketplace, and so we'll send a signal by saying something, and then that changes the playing field that we're playing on. And so unfortunately I can't tell you what my double and triple and home run are. What I can tell you is I've got 4 projects in the hopper right now that are over the next few months. Each one will be coming out, and they will all be considerably bigger than this. And all I can say is kind of hold your breath. It'll be cool. There's some really interesting stuff, and it kills me that I can't tell you about it. Yeah.
So assuming the proposition passes and the state law is still trumped by the federal law, I mean, what exactly do you think is going to happen the day after when things start going motion to move towards opening up just dispensaries for people over 21? I mean, is the DEA just going to come in and start shutting them down instead of opening up? What's going to happen?
Yeah, I'll spend a little bit of time on this. This is a big question. What's going to happen? Is Prop 19 going to pass? If it does, what happens? Both politically and in the market. I want Prop 19 to pass. Believe me, I am going to fight hard for it, donate to it, tell everybody to work hard for it. I think its chances are about 1 in 4 of passing, for a host of reasons, which I won't go into all the elements of why I think that, because there's no point in being the best thing to spend your time doing is not talking about why something might pass or fail, but getting out there and doing something to help make it pass. Even if it's a bit of a long shot. It's not that far of a long shot. I mean, a 1 in 4 chance of the biggest change in world history for marijuana policy is a pretty good shot to take. So let's say lightning strikes, it passes. What I think will happen is that most cities will do nothing. People will be able to start growing their 5x5 plots. And that'll go across the country. And then a few cities, probably San Jose, San Francisco, Oakland, Berkeley, maybe 1 or 2 towns in Southern California, maybe Mendocino and Humboldt, will license retailers. Because remember, the ballot initiative doesn't make it legal across the state, it leaves it up to the locality to make that change. And my guess is that the places that will do it will be the places that are already regulating medical cannabis. And what they will likely do is simply allow the people who are already selling medical cannabis to not check for medical IDs anymore if they don't want to. And then open up some more licenses in order to deal with the increased demand from the adult user who's doesn't have a medical card. So not much will change. It'll look very similar to the way it looks right now in Berkeley or Oakland. It'll just be a larger customer base that's going to be getting it from the legal market instead of going to the illicit market. And the tax money, once the tax money starts coming into these places, other cities and towns will look and see, wait, the sky didn't fall in Oakland, the sky didn't fall in Berkeley, the sky didn't fall in San Francisco. Why don't we regulate it? And so our folks aren't running to Berkeley and Oakland spending their money and giving tax money there. Why don't they do it here? And then there'll always be places, I mean, even with alcohol now, I mean, there's still places in this country that are dry. I mean, that's still going to be the case with this as well. And then as far as the federal government, who knows? Who knows what they're going to do? It'll be an interesting fight. I mean, they have the right to. I mean, already with the medical law, we went through that with the Raich case, Angel Raich, and they basically came to the Supreme Court came to the conclusion the federal government can enforce federal law. So it's not really a question of whether they can. The question is, will they do it, and will it be politically viable? And I think that depends on the polling. If it's only 44%, 45% nationwide support for full legalization, and Obama's in a corner, he's going to swing. If we're at 55%, if we're at 60% public support, and it looks like it's a bit more even, then I think maybe Obama will let it slide, and there'll sort of be a de facto opinion that the federal government isn't going to go after it. Either way, it's a fight that's going to happen because right after California does it, Nevada's not too far behind, Colorado's not too far behind, Rhode Island's not too far behind, Alaska's not too far behind, Washington, Oregon. I mean, it's going to be like over the next few years, you're going to see one state after another, just like it happened with medical. I think you're going to see the same thing happen with non-medical. So, Mark?
You said something about the stigma that remains with marijuana, but if that's what's keeping corporate greed and large companies away from it, isn't that like a way to kind of build up this base to reach the point where we can actually compete with those companies in order to actually begin being able to change things on a much larger scale?
Could you ask your question again? I'm not sure I 100% followed your question.
So basically, like, the reason why policies like this aren't able to pass so easily is because there is no like huge corporate funding or anything like that to kind of push it to the White House, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
But if the stigma that is attached to marijuana is what keeps large companies right now, and so corporate greed away from it, isn't that like a chance for this business to kind of start building up its own sort of stockpile of sorts to reach the level of competition? Absolutely.
I mean, I would set it up a little bit differently than the way what you're discussing. I don't think stigma is part of the reason why the big companies aren't involved in this right now. The other part is just the legal side of it. Until the federal law